All right, I'm trying a sip.
Banana water.
It smells very bananular.
It does.
And that's just banana.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Huh. It's not bad, but it's too sweet for me to find it actively refreshing.
I kind of like it.
That's fair. You're the one that bought it. Vivian, Vivian got a bit rowdy while we were grocery shopping today and insisted on buying the can of organic banana water.
It's not my fault. I was taken into a grocery store without adequate restraints. I can't be held responsible for what bullshit I'll pick up.
Anyway, I've been thinking like almost nonstop since we ended last episode about what the hell Hedwig means when she says she's not a person. Like, there's obviously like the very like self-diminishing version of it, right?
Yep.
Where like, oh, I'm just locked away in a cell. I don't take up space that matters. No one sees me, that matters. But I don't know. I've been trained to be very cautious when that someone insists like that.
Yep.
Right? If you know, you know. So I have been thinking a lot more about what it means for narrator Hedwig to not be a person. And it's so I don't know what to make of it. I guess the other thing that's really throwing me is the notion that our the nun that kind of like the storyteller nun who likes to intervene is not only was gave us a story that involved the 1980s somehow.
Yep.
But also is herself making references to Hollywood prestige dramas, right? So it's like the person who is narrating, who is giving us the story, who is outside of the story, is also aware of very modern things, and I'm like, I don't know. There is a version of this where fucking brain clone Hedwig isn't that far off. I don't think it's that, but the space of things I'm considering for how to handle this comment has been dramatically widened. Let me put it that way. Anything you'd like to add before we get back into it?
No.
I awoke late the next morning after restless dreams. In which I saw
restless
that
dreams,
place.
I see that place.
Linbarrow Abbey. Wait, James is here.
What?
James is the main character in Silent Hill 2.
Oh, sorry. I already forgot we were doing a Silent Hill bit. That was like a full 10 seconds ago.
It wasn't even 10 seconds. We had literally just finished with the bit.
The pretty picture on the screen changed, so my brain stopped going and did a different thing.
I remember groaning as I rolled out of my bed and padded across the floor to pick up my robe. I looked out the window. The sun was higher in the sky than it usually was. Than it should be when I was getting ready for the day. Excuse me. I felt bleary and distant from myself. Last night's dramatics had shaken me deeply, but there I was, scrambling to return to the relative comfort of routine. The idea of missing service was equally as disturbing as coming face to face with something so unholy. I don't know. I think Hedwig puts a lot of work into making sure she seems awkward, naive, and devoted in her own way. So she as a character kind of gets away with a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like she's the one telling the story, obviously. And I don't know. I on one hand I feel like maybe the soup is asking a lot of her. On the other hand, it does feel like Hetty isn't putting in a ton of work towards what she's supposed to be doing.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it though? Like what else do you want her to do?
I'm not sure I know, but on the other hand, it's like I can feel the superior's frustration. And not to say she was right with this harebrained scheme to begin with, but I don't know.
I've literally had the opposite inclination, like, wow, she seems awfully canny for someone who's spent literally her entire life inside a small room, not speaking to other individuals and so on. Like, that's way better of an investigation than I'd have expected.
Fair enough. I scrambled to put my clothes on and make myself presentable and rushed out the door, only to see that I wasn't the only one who had slept in. To be fair, I think the Lord would forgive you if you had overslept because you were working hard as a team to help, if not save someone's life, save, their body. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Lord will give you that one. Eustace, Moira, and Charity were standing in a circle around something in the middle of the dormitory. They looked surprised to see me in such a rush. Oh, hello.
Where are you off to all of a sudden?
I haven't missed service, have I? Oh, bless you.
We didn't have service this morning. I think the superior might still be asleep.
I can't blame her.
Oh, but she means it when she said Jubilee. I think a day off is warranted given the circumstances. We could declare it a holiday for Flora.
Steady on.
Hold on. All right, so let's see here. Okay. So Flora's new sprite is Flora in a wheelbarrow. And we get to see at the leg here, too.
So the break is down there.
Yeah, down in the lower part. And it looks like the two halves were kind of fused into a smaller thing. I see why they were fusing it now. Okay. Because it was to make a longer kind of cylindrical unit for her.
Yep. I'm not dead. Don't venetrate me just yet.
How did they get the wheelbarrow upstairs?
Carefully.
Understood.
Venerate.
Whatever.
The thing these women had been crowded around was, in fact, Flora, still seated in the wheelbarrow from the night before. It had been dressed up a bit since I had last seen it. A pair of fluffy pillows now lined the barrow, propped up so Flora could look forward while keeping her damaged legs straight and aloft. For medieval medicine, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It looked almost luxurious.
Flora's going to need to be wheeled around for a while, but I'm hopeful the leg will mend. Honestly, Eustace, that was clever thinking with those vambraces. I don't know what I was thinking when I suggested the boot. It would have been massive on her.
Eustace's knowledge always surprises me. I mean, also, like, in the moment, anyone would have said boot first, right?
Yep.
Who knew she was a blacksmith?
I'm not. I just picked up a few things at one of my old convents.
Really? So one of your old convents had something like this, too? We also know she did, some kind of work in exchange for her glasses, right?
Yeah.
I think she described it as, like, clerical work?
Yeah.
But didn't really elaborate more than that, so...
Oh, did you do a stint in Italy? I've heard that some of the nunneries there are practically artisan guilds.
Yeah.
Sounds like it beats this dump.
Thank God we had a bloomery at all. However, ramshackle. I guess that is also a strange thing for Linbarrow to have, huh? I'm not technically minded. I stay away from the fancy bits and bobs that we have here.
What here counts as fancy?
The plumbing, for one. We almost had that clock tower, too.
I always forget we have our own water. There are 3 faucets here? The privy, the kitchen, and
And Hedwig's. Flora trailed off, but shot me a look that I did my best not to return conspicuously. The third faucet, of course, was in my cell. That is... I know she had mentioned before that the faucet was in her cell, but I don't think we had ever it had never been clearly stated that it was one of a very small number. Right? That I don't know what that changes, but that feels like an important detail. It's not like there was plumbing, they had faucets at a bunch of different locations, might as well throw one in for the anchoress. That's like you are third in line after food and shitting, which doesn't sound great when I say it like that, but if you think about it, it truly is.
I realized that Flora had likely been subsisting on water and trips to the pantry while she had been missing.
Seems like a bit of a waste.
The privy is more than just a faucet. You should be thankful for that. If we didn't have plumbing, I might kill myself.
Steady on. I'm the one with the broken leg. I'm the one who gets to say stuff like that. Don't steal my joke. Oh, I wish you wouldn't joke like that. Either of you. I'm gonna kill myself and be venerated, and then I'll be allowed to say it. As it'd be my holiday.
You wouldn't be able to say anything at all if you were dead.
I could say it from heaven.
Will you be in hell?
Sensing that this back and forth might continue for a while, I smiled at everyone and took my leave. At the very least, I was relieved to see that Flora was in good spirits. Typical spirits. The late morning sun on the landing was surprisingly bright. There was a pleasant smell on the air, the kind of smell I had cherished in my cell the day after heavy rainfall. It was so thick that I felt like I could take a bite out of it. I opened my mouth and chomped and bit like that dog I had seen in the village. The fresh air was rejuvenating. I took the stairs down toward the cloister. I knew I had so much to do, so much to be worried about. Firstly, I needed to reiterate to the superior exactly what had happened, that there was indeed a monster, and that my investigation was effectively over.
Hedwig seems very insistent on the.
Was I wrong to think so? Flora and I were attacked by what surely seemed to be an impossible creature. It was certainly not Eustace. Eustace. I frowned as I reached the bottom of the stairs and considered her Misericorde prank. Something was amiss with Eustace, but she was not the mysterious attacker, and the longer I thought about this, the less sense her practical joke made. Was she so cruel? Truly mean enough to simply do it for laughs?
I mean, what her stated reasoning in the first chapter was that she, well, at least when Hedwig confronted her about it, is because it seemed like she wanted Hedwig to stop her investigation, and she thought that would be the most effective way to do it. Which you can believe or not if you want, but I think that was like the reasonable interpretation.
Or had she earnestly been trying to warn me away from some deeper mystery, as she had told me the eve before? I had considered the magic circle and the demon that had attacked Flora and I. There was something nastier afoot here. Something evil. I did not like this idea at all. But I was starting to discover that I did like being correct.
Oh no, Hetty.
And so, despite it all, when I broke out of the shadows of the cloister onto the path toward the garden, I was smiling. I caught the scent of fresh flowers on the breeze, and quite overwhelmed by the sensation, took another pretend bite of the air in front of me.
What are you doing? Oh, sorry, Margaret, not Catherine. What are you doing?
Margaret and Darcy were standing by one of the hedgerows, looking at me quizzically. Well, flowers just smell so good.
That's true. You might have better luck with your nose, though. They do smell quite good, though. I would not mind a bite.
Well, putting that all aside, how are you two?
Oh, making the most of it all. No use wasting a day off. No rest for me. I need to go get lunch ready soon. Would you like some help? If you don't mind. Hedwig?
Of course. I like how Hedwig's first reaction to anyone calling her name is immediate, like, I hope I did not sound like I was protesting. Darcy smiled and clapped her hands together gently.
Wonderful.
Real Darce hours. We all started walking back toward the kitchen at a leisurely pace. Oh, also, maybe you can clean up the mess you made last night.
So, Flora is safe? What a relief.
Indeed.
I should make her favorite, which is...
Darcy furrowed her brow and kept walking, evidently rummaging around in her head to remember Flora's meal of choice. Now, the song playing is called Coming Apart. I was wondering why there was that little laughing clip, sample in there. Have you heard that?
No.
Listen to the music again, and every so often you hear like a little Oh, that thing. What was that?
I thought that was a record scratch.
Oh, was that a record scratch?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a little hard to make out what, but yeah.
Will you be writing all this up as part of your chronicling duties?
I suppose I must. Truly, I hadn't thought about it.
I don't envy you. That's going to be a few pages at least.
That's very possible. I do tend to truncate, though. Well, I'll manage.
Not one to embellish?
Not typically, unless I'm narrating for an audience. In which case, I could be embellishing the story, and apparently you wouldn't be able to fact-check me. I prefer to be succinct. Volume 2 of 3. I could easily have told you this story in like 2 sentences, but you know, this is more fun. Stop giggling. That was true. Back then.
One of these days, I should actually read some of our chronicles.
Aren't Catherine with the C's gone? I vaguely remembered Eustace refusing me to let me see any of Catherine with the C's writings.
Yeah, but they go back donkey's years, I think. Well before Sister Catherine's work, even.
I had honestly never considered looking.
Really? You never get curious or bored?
Bored? No. Curious, perhaps, but this might sound silly, surrounded by all those books. Quite literally surrounded. They're old chronicles stacked up on the desk. The thought has just never crossed my mind.
You're a writer, not a reader. I understand.
I have read every book of the Bible, and no short amount of commentary on it as well. After that, what's left of value to read?
I did recommend the Divine Comedy, yeah? I do think you might like that.
Yeah, I think you did.
Duck sausage. Flora's favorite is duck sausage.
Darcy emerges from the mind. To be fair, I definitely do that sometimes too, right? Where you have to be like, I know a thing, but I'm going to have to sit here and just like drag it out, kicking and screaming after a little bit.
Darcy skating through her mind, palace on wheelies.
You mean Heelys?
On Heelys.
We arrived at the kitchen. I felt a wave of embarrassment as Darcy entered the room, remembering the mess I had made on the hunt for Eustace's gay lead bowl.
What the...
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention this. I knocked over all the cookware last night when I was looking for a bowl to hold. You know, for Flora. It was dark and that cat jumped out at me and there went...
Oh, yes, that cat is a bloody nuisance. I suppose I should thank it for keeping the kitchen mouse free. But I don't remember ever seeing a mouse, and I think I would like it to be cat-free as well.
One thing I've noticed about Darcy is that she never ums. She might sometimes but she never stops and stalls for time like people might, which is interesting habit. I was inadvertently demonstrating that did not actually mean for that to happen that way.
No creatures in the kitchen at all, I should think. Only ones I am about to cook. Here.
Darcy bent down to start collecting scattered kitchenware, and Margaret and I quickly moved in to help.
Thank you. My back is not good enough to do this sort of thing by myself. You do too much by yourself. Honestly, it makes me feel guilty. I do what I like to do. Company is always nice, though. And between you and me and the pots and pans, the meal preparation is about to get more complicated. Really now, why's that? I heard we might be getting some new oblates.
I dropped the utensil that I'd been trying to return to a high shelf. I am not as tall as I think I am.
Where did you hear about new blood, Darcy? Eustace has been muttering about it.
New oblates. This is fascinating. Although in the good style of any good serial visual novel, have to keep introducing characters all the way up until the very bitter end.
Gotta keep the who the fuck are you quotient going.
We haven't truly had a who the fuck are you moment because every character we've been introduced to so far has been well and truly established beforehand. But maybe we'll get there. No, we did have one, obviously, when No Name Given showed up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think she and the superior have been discussing the logistics of it or something. Eustace probably doesn't want more grubby little hands touching her books. Heh.
When will they be here? Do you know anything about them?
Have no clue, I'm afraid. How fun. You won't be the new girl forever, Hedwig.
I mean, I technically have been here longer than some of you. Indeed. I was distracted imagining throwing myself in front of whichever cart would be bringing the poor souls to Linbarrow. Surely there were better convents. Any other convents. Communities without whores, ghosts, and dead women hanging around.
I don't know, making Linbarrow sound kind of based.
Come to Linbarrow. We have murders and mysteries.
I wonder if their transfers are really new. If the bishop is here, I have to assume they're actually new.
She made a cutting gesture with her hand.
You'll have to get your shears out for soup, Darce. Oh yeah, I suppose I will. Poor things. Those first few weeks of having a scratchy head are no fun. It's one of the few things I remember clearly that far back.
Oh, having to get your entire head shaved?
Gotta chop off the long hair and be devoted to God now.
Huh. Didn't someone show us a lock of their hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, Moira did.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not long anymore. It's just kept to a short length.
And I don't think it's like they have to keep it like shaved all the time. It's a matter of like, oh, this is part of the ceremony thing you do.
It's just it's a one-time ceremonial thing, and okay, I understand now.
Don't quote me on it. But I feel like I've read about this.
I'm sure someone in the comment section will correct us.
And then the rest of it isn't that much fun either. Bit of a scam, really.
Something about Margaret's tone here caught me off guard. And despite the sacrilegious sentiment, I found myself letting out a small chuckle.
Whoa. Are you feeling all right, Hedwig? I was bracing myself for some banter.
It just surprised me is all. And I do feel for new oblates. It probably will feel like some sort of scheme for a while.
It would be a scam if it wasn't the truth.
That's such an amazing thing for Darcy to say. Like, that says so much about Darcy in that moment, right? Like, where she's going through and doing a lot of things that she's like, yeah, this would absolutely be a scam. Some of this stuff does really suck. However, I do believe it is literally the truth. So, you do what you gotta. And I don't know. I just feel like that's an incredible amount of insight to have.
That's right, Darce. That's what I was preparing to say when Hedwig got upset at me. But she didn't.
But I didn't.
Catherine did say we'd make a Linbarrow girl out of you yet.
Oh no, that she did. In truth, I was completely preoccupied with worry. If I hadn't been thinking about the lion's den these new women would be walking into, I probably would have given Margaret the chastising she expected.
Anyway, keep it secret. It is a secret to everyone until the superior announces it. Speaking of, is she awake yet? I hope so, or she is going to miss lunch.
It does seem like the Abbey just kind of runs itself without the superior there directing them. Like, she declared a day off, and yet the people who know they need to do things are still out there doing them, right? Like, Darcy is still like, yeah, it's a day off, but I know I got to do this without any direction. And, like, that's... I don't know. I like, for some people, being in charge and having the people you're in charge of know to do what they need to do without your input might be a sign of pride, right?
Hedwig, would you mind checking on her? I doubt we'd hear the end of it if she missed lunch. I'd do it myself, but, well... laying low.
Yes, of course. And I could come back to help with the cooking should you need me.
I think we will be alright, actually, if you want to go get some writing done before we eat. I imagine you have lots to add today.
My goodness, I suppose I do. Chronicling! What an inconvenient task I was saddled with. How would I be able to describe all that had happened last night? Writing the plain truth as I had seen it would look like the ramblings of a madwoman.
Freed from sweating it out in the hot kitchen, eh? Lucky you. Go on, then.
Margaret shot me a playful grin as I made my exit. The noonday sun blinded me as I left. I was not used to things being this bright after being awake for such a short time. It was a cold brightness. The earth felt crisp and brittle, the exact inverse of how the world had looked and felt only hours prior. My head still felt rather swimmy. I felt calm, but I didn't trust myself. The day was proceeding like any other, but it should not have been. I thought back to the blackness of the night before when I had stared up into the sky, soaking wet and freezing cold. When I shut my eyes and begged for another chance. Perhaps I had been granted it. I had escaped the darkness and emerged into this stark world of light. When I arrived at the Superior's door, I was feeling oddly resolute. Things were falling apart, but they had not fallen apart yet. No answer. No answer still. I reasoned that she had already risen and turned to leave. But just as I did, I heard a muffled voice.
Who is that?
Oh, it's Sister Hedwig, your, superior. I could hear the door being unlocked.
Come in.
Good morning, Soup.
Quickly now.
Superior?
Quiet, please.
Wait, is her eye swollen or is she just blinking from the sun?
Can't tell.
Sorry, I should have let you sleep a little longer.
How late is it?
Just before midday, I should think.
Good Lord.
She stumbled over to her ostentatious chair and collapsed into it and then beckoned me to step up to her desk.
How are the others?
Quite well, all things considered. Flora is taking to her wheelbarrow.
I'm going to try that one more time.
Flora is taking to her wheelbarrow with aplomb. And Darcy is preparing luncheon. All is right in the world.
That is a relief. Oh, I really should just declare it a holiday.
Were you drinking last night, Soup? We know she has a little bit of her own.
Yep. the good stuff.
Everyone seems under the impression that you did,
Oh, that's right. What was it I said last night? Jubilee, Jubilee!
She weakly raised her hands and waved them mockingly before collapsing them on the desk and leaning forward.
Would you mind letting everyone know? I think I may be indisposed for the rest of the day.
Oh, of course. But as I said, I think the others might have already assumed the day was forfeit after service failed to happen.
Don't be so judgmental. We all had quite a night.
I didn't mean... She held her face in her hands and groaned, then pulled her cheeks down somewhat comically, accentuating the bags under her eyes.
My apologies. I tend to assume the worst when I'm tired.
When you're tired?
Tired and emotional.
I tend to assume the worst at most times.
I need to spend some time with you catching up on the events. But not today. My mind must repair.
I understand.
I hope you will be able to be as forthcoming as possible when the time comes. I apologize for my attitude last night, but I can't apologize for the sentiment behind it. I simply cannot deal with any more nonsense, least of all from you. I trust you. I have to. Do you understand that? That's why you're here. I understand that amongst the others you have a role to play, but when it's just you and me, I expect the truth. And I don't think I should have to demand it from you. It should come freely and without obfuscation. No ghosts, no fairies, no, I don't know, Merlin-esque trickery. Tell me what is real.
Yes, Superior.
Otherwise, what's the point of any of this?
Of course, Superior. If I may, the details I tried to tell you. A creaking sound emanated from the room next door. The Superior frowned and leaned forward.
Not now.
I nodded, not understanding in the slightest. The Superior rose to her feet somewhat shakily and began walking toward the door, speaking louder and clearer than she had before.
Please tell the sisters that they have a day off to do as they wish, and do tell Flora that I am relieved beyond measure that she is safe and on the mend.
I gave a little bow of my head and exited the stuffy office.
I wonder if, the bishop is next door. I wonder what the bishop thinks about not having service. Oh, wait, hold on. What's this track?
Oh, yeah.
What is this very PS2 era platformer? I love this. This is great. What is this?
Paganorum?
Paganorum 4.
I entered the rectory to find the sisters seated for luncheon, a veritable feast laid out in front of them. There were bowls of pottage, piles of roast carrots and other vegetables, and slices of bread laid out on wooden carving boards. The centerpiece of the whole affair, however, was Flora positioned at the head of the table, where the Superior would typically sit. While most of the sisters were sitting in askew chairs around the room, Moira, Adela, and Catherine with a K were standing next to the poor girl's wheelbarrow. They were helping her spoon stew into her mouth out of a bowl resting awkwardly on her stomach. It was a bizarre tableau. Everyone turned to greet me warmly as I shut the door. Everyone except Angela, who was sitting closest to the door, nibbling away at a small plate of food. I suppose she was positioned as close to the exit as she could be. No doubt to make one of her dramatic exits if someone upset her. Forgive me, I should not embellish things so...
Hello, Hedwig. Welcome. We are celebrating our wounded hero.
So I see. How are you feeling, Flora?
Can't complain.
Do you like some of my banana water?
I see, so you like it. You're enjoying it. You love it.
Here's the thing. In between the first and last sips, I had kind of forgotten what the texture was like. And then I went back for one because I'm like, oh, I'm out of water. I just need to wet my whistle. And I kind of regretted it.
You love it. I know you do.
I love banana flavor. This is working very hard to make me not enjoy it.
You can have as much as you like.
She was grinning widely. For someone who disliked being around people so much, she certainly seemed to enjoy the attention.
I mean, people are paying attention to her, right? That's kind of what she wanted. even if it's a little bit of a roundabout way of going about it, she did kind of get people paying attention to her, not pretending she doesn't exist and ignoring her, right? Because that was the whole bit that she was annoyed with in the first volume.
She looked like a king on a dais, surrounded by attendants.
Oop. Careful.
Some of the stew had missed Flora's mouth and landed on her wimple. Moira immediately began wiping at it with her sleeve, which jostled the bowl and threatened to create even more of a mess before Catherine with a K steadied it. Only a few hours had passed without threat of supervision, and things had descended into total abandon.
This is your idea of total abandon?
This is your idea of not embellishing?
Wait, what?
This is right. This is what total abandon looks like?
The superior bade me to tell you all to officially consider today a day of rest. A cheer went up around the room.
That's honestly a relief. We've had our hands full helping Flora out. You mean pushing me around? Am I that heavy? I think that barrow weighs more than you do.
It's a good thing I didn't break my leg.
I frowned at this. Didn't need to defend Charity from her own jokes, but something about it still bothered me.
Yeah, because remember, Charity and Marta were the ones who went after Flora that...
Sit down, Hedwig.
That is to say, if the person Flora wasn't... If the last people to see Flora weren't everyone at the wake, then the last people to see Flora would have either been Charity or Marta. That being the implication.
Darcy and Margaret prepared us a wonderful luncheon. And since there's nothing else to do today, we can take our time and relax and recuperate.
I took a seat and prepared myself a modest plate out of the dishes on offer. Oh, the superior also asked me to tell you that she's relieved and happy you are well, Flora.
That's nice. Did she tell you anything else, Hedwig? Oh, yes, tell us.
I don't believe so. Well, what about?
Oh, she definitely told her.
Everyone, save for Angela, adjusted their chairs to get a better look at me as I ate. I really don't know what you're hoping to hear.
Yes, you do. The new oblates.
She didn't say anything specific to me about new people. But she did say that tomorrow would be a busy day.
That means yes. That means yes. Oh, how lovely. That'll make this winter much less lonesome.
I feel like everyone here has jumped to a lot of conclusions real fast. And usually that's my job.
What are we? Chopped liver? No, but you know me, I like making friends.
Moira, actually innocent, actually does just like making friends.
We've condemned her to be the culprit purely because we can't believe anyone would treat us nice and are immediately skeptical of people who do.
That's why I'm skeptical of you every night.
No.
I'm skeptical right now.
No. I exist.
All right.
I hope they're closer to my age than you lot. I hope they're closer to my age than you lot.
Oh, I don't know. We only have the one extra chair in the cloister.
Hey, there's one young one and one old one.
Oh, how would you know?
I wouldn't.
Spill.
There's nothing to spill.
It certainly sounded like you know something we don't.
I know a lot of things you don't. But I don't know how old either of them are.
Either.
Okay, look, that's a figure of speech.
No, it is not. I do not think it is.
I misspoke.
She wiped her mouth and pushed her chair out.
I am going to go and enjoy this crisp air while I can.
Either.
You were last to pick up on it. You don't get to get credit.
Either. 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 Either.
The sisters began to chant the word in unison as Eustace left the room.
I think that's the medieval equivalent of someone having a typo and then everyone in the group chat just piling on.
Yeah.
I cannot say for sure, but I think I saw the flicker of a smirk on Eustace's face as she left.
For some reason, I had it in my head it was going to be 3. But,
Maybe it will be.
maybe it will be.
Maybe Eustace is spreading disinfo.
As the door closed, the chanting died down slowly. There were a few giggles mixed in too, here and there.
A pair of new oblets. They must think we're about to pop at charity.
Oh, I just might if they're half as rowdy as this lot.
Could you all be a touch quieter? Thank you. No. You are a bit outnumbered, Angela. Don't remind me.
She stood up, primed to say something. However, she appeared to think better of it, shook her head, and, well, look, my observation about her penchant for dramatic exits isn't completely unwarranted.
Perhaps we can exchange her with one of the new sisters. Surely there's a convent out there in need of a nosy bitch.
Catherine with a K!
You're right, I'm being unfair. Angela's worth the pair of them. She comes with 2 faces, after all.
Listen, I know I said this could be the result of my terrible toxic Yuri brain, but Catherine spurned lover of Angela. I'm still right about this.
You can be the first to write this pairing. AO3 is open for business. Enough. Am I wrong? Not in the slightest, which is why that's enough. I like it when you and Angela fight. Makes me feel like I'm watching a joust or something. I train my hands for war and my fingers for battle. Your mouth, too. Come on, let's go for a walk. Oh dear, I'm in trouble. She's taking me to the gallows. Farewell, my friends.
The louder Catherine with a K spoke, the more the sweet scent of wine I could smell. A day of rest indeed.
I'm feeling pretty well rested, if you catch my drift.
I do catch your drift.
Can I have your room? Absolutely not.
Margaret led her friend out of the room.
Is anybody else getting a little tired of their fighting? Angela and Catherine? Well, it's a bit complicated. The fighting or your enjoyment of it? Both, I suppose. It is rather funny sometimes. Catherine does have a way with words, but Angela has an iron will. I find it exhausting. I do wish they would just make up. That'll never happen. Oh, I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Not many. Adela is correct for once. It'd be a miracle among miracles if Catherine and Angela ever saw eye to eye again. Thank you for such a sincere compliment, Marta. I don't know what you're talking about. What does this mean?
I could try Google translating this.
She's saying, ¿Qué te fue un pez espada? What does that mean? Why don't I know this phrase?
Oh, here we go. My favorite Spanish insult. May a swordfish fuck you.
That was worth looking up. Thank you. I'm glad to add that one to my memory
Aren't you the one
banks.
learning Spanish?
Marta let out a derisive chuckle and waved this apparent insult away with a hand.
Jesus Christ.
I am Spanish, Adela. I am well aware.
I knew. I said it because I knew you would understand.
I'm glad you've worked up the courage to insult me in my own tongue, then. Better than muttering under your breath in whatever godless language you usually curse with. Italian. One more godless than that, even. Malhat. That's the one.
Malhat. What on earth is Mal? I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
Finding a lot of Malahat.
Hmm.
But the only Malhat I'm finding is... Malhat is an Arabic surname. Born by more people in Egypt than any other country. I don't know how much to trust that website, but that's something. Well, that was inconsistent at most. I'm sure someone in the comment section will help us out on this one.
Please.
It's not often that... I don't want to sit here for like 20 minutes trying to track it down.
May you be fucked by a swordfish. What a phrase. You know, just because I like Catherine and Angela's bickering doesn't mean I want to watch this. You're killing the mood.
Agreed. Peace, you two, for God's sake.
All's well. I think I've finished my lunch anyway.
Charity and Marta stood up to leave, Charity looking somewhat apologetic.
Huh, so even Charity doesn't put up with some of Marta's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness me, I thought we were having a grand time until all of that. That is one of the problems with this place. Everyone defaults to cruelty. There must be some way to reduce the prickliness between you and Marta. I will accept responsibility for my own part in our conflict, but I will not apologize for defending myself. The difference between us is that my insults are a reaction to what she says, but hers are a reaction to who I am. Ah. Oh well. I did not wish to bring the mood down so low. I am going to go and work on the sherry since Marta is taking time off.
She bowed politely and then took her leave as well.
At least we all still have the rest of the day to relax and enjoy ourselves. Perhaps the holiday is just what everybody needs. How about you wheel me back up to the dorms? I wouldn't mind a nap. That sounds like a good idea. Do you mind, Hedwig? Darcy?
Not at all.
Either implies that there are two new oblates, does it not? Sorry, just been stuck on that one for a bit. Everybody else just having a knockdown, drag-out fight in the corner, and Darcy just quietly sitting in the corner like, what does either mean?
Darcy...
For like 20 minutes.
Darcy, you are a treasure.
That's right. Thought so. Hedwig, would you mind helping me clean all of this up?
I would be happy to. I winced at my own chipper tone. I had been trying my best to trail off less, stammer less, but I was afraid that in this instance, I sounded as if I hadn't heard about or cared about the awkward exchanges in front of me. No matter what I did, I was always conspicuous. Moira and Flora departed as Darcy and I began stacking up plates and utensils. It took us several trips back and forth between the kitchen and the rectory to completely clear the table. I tried to suppress an involuntary annoyance that my day off had become a work day after all. I chided myself for the selfishness as I washed plates in a wooden basin Darcy had dragged into the kitchen. The vanity of some of the sisters around me must have been rubbing off on me.
Oh, Hedwig got an excuse for everything.
Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure.
Oh my God, my voice cracked.
What are you going to do with the rest of the day?
Well, let me think. The garden needs tending to.
Surely not. Isn't there anything less exhausting you could be doing? You work so much around here.
I hardly think of it as work most days, but I suppose you are right. I like to experiment.
Experiment?
With my plants. I grow them and pick them and grind them up and boil them and burn them and lots of other things. Sometimes I make things that are useful, like that tincture I gave you the other day.
Dream blunt rotation. She's in it.
Other times, nothing happens really. But it is all worth writing down.
You know what? I gotta wonder if she has that same kind of thing. We were watching Apothecary Diaries, right?
Yeah.
You know, the main character, Mao Mao,
Yeah.
has a tendency to really enjoy experimenting with new substances, including up to testing herself for new poisons. I wonder if Darcy has a similar streak of... Because I have to imagine they are not all winners, right? Like, there's got to be times where it doesn't end up well.
That was also my first thought when she's like, oh, sometimes I make useful things like tinctures and sometimes nothing happens. And it's like, but yeah, we already know you've got plants in that garden that can straight up kill a person. So I'm sure you've had a time or two where it was, you know, maybe
Touch
not
and go.
great. Did you write
roll
those
up her
ones
sleeve
down?
And there's like the part of her arm that has a bunch of different rashes all cordoned off.
I've been building up an immunity to plants.
What? Just the concept of plants? An entire kingdom, huh? Well, that still sounds like work to me.
Yes, but it's all for me, so I don't mind.
I see. Well, that's a good way of looking at it. Is there anything in particular you're working on at the moment?
No, not really. I haven't had a project plant in a while. My last big one was something I was working on with Catherine, but... well, we talked about that a bit.
Did we?
Yes, when we were shepherding.
Oh! Yes. Remember the surprising sadness with which Darcy had described Catherine with a C's fair weather fascination with her fellow sisters.
We worked together for a bit and it was nice, but now it's just me.
We continued washing up for a while in silence, wood occasionally clunking against wood as I sloshed plates back and forth in the basin.
Actually, that's not true. Eustace helps me out quite a
I was
bit.
gonna say, you two seem like peas in a pod.
Oh, well, that's nice.
It isn't quite the same, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I can see that. Catherine with a C seems like someone who, while she was invested, would like throw herself into it. Whereas Eustace seems like someone who would absolutely do what Darcy asked of her, but probably no more, right? Right, like she'll be like, you need her to take some notes. Sure, she'll do that, but like won't show further interest.
Plus, it sounds like Catherine kind of had a tendency to love bomb everyone that she got a fascination with and got involved with. And Eustace is not that kind of person.
No, absolutely not. Eustace is also just very much like, not prickly, but like...
A little bit.
Okay, yeah, prickly. Fine.
I had never seen Darcy in such a low mood. Even on the hill with the sheep where she had confided in me about Catherine with a C.
Well, that's because there were sheep around.
She looked positively morose.
I suppose she's busy today, though.
Would you like my help?
That would actually be very nice, yes.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, I'm sure I don't know a thing about it, especially compared to Catherine with a C, but...
That is not a problem. I will appreciate just having someone to hold things.
My offer seemed to give her a second burst of energy. I could practically see her accelerating to finish the last few piles of washing up. I did my best to finish what I was responsible for. Her energy was boundless compared to mine. When I began to slow down, it seemed like Darcy had sped up. I must confess that I had not really thought things through completely when I suggested I help her. It had seemed like a kind thing to say, and therefore I had said it. I had not really expected her to say yes. No, that is not entirely accurate. I had not thought through any possible responses at all.
Oh, Hedwig learning how casual conversation works for the first time.
We finished stacking the plates and utensils where they belonged. Darcy waddled away, bristling with energy that I could not match. I followed her back to the dormitory. We didn't pass anyone on the way back. I supposed everyone's leisure activities were elsewhere.
Apologies for the mess.
Darcy's room was even messier than I had last seen it. Her writing desk had been moved into the center of the room to hold her little cauldron, and a mountainous pile of tiny glass bottles had taken over her bed. It's no trouble.
We will be standing anyway. Would you mind bringing some fire in for the cauldron?
How?
Just use one of the candles on the mantle.
Oh, of course. One moment. Darcy set to work pawing through the bottle pile as I turned back to grab a pricket and candle from the mantel outside her room. I did not love the idea of starting a fire in Darcy's room, no matter how small, but nonetheless, I had promised to help.
Someone keeps taking those without telling me. Candles aren't cheap, you know.
I wheeled around so quickly it nearly blew the candle I had just lit out again. Oh, I wasn't aware that I had to tell you about that sort of thing. I apologize.
You took one?
Yes, last night when I heard Flora.
I do keep a log of that sort of thing, just so you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. I understand it must have been a rather extreme circumstance. So, you heard Flora?
Oh dear. Yes. She had gotten her leg caught in the big door on the landing.
I must have been asleep. It's a good thing you heard it.
Indeed.
Did you put the other pricket back?
Oh no. I think it might be in my room still.
No trouble. Just put it back when you get a chance, please. What are you doing with this one? It's broad daylight.
I'm actually just helping Darcy with... Well, I don't rightfully know. Something or other.
Just lighting something and putting it back. I suppose there's no need for me to log it.
So Eustace, because we mentioned that her system last night might be like she really is very, very particular about where things are and when they go in and out and in and out, right?
Could be.
Well, where is this log? I had never seen it. Can make sure to write in it when I take a candle in the future. Eustace tapped her head with one finger.
I have a system.
She has a system. Oh. So I should just tell you?
If you could.
I will endeavor to do so.
Wonderful.
Her clipped speech today went beyond her typical standoffishness. Are you quite well?
You know, Hedwig, it's funny. I keep thinking that a lot of incredibly stressful things have happened around here lately, but I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining things.
Her eyebrow twitched. It reminded me somewhat of our recent talk in the garden. It made me realize what a silly question I had just asked. However, she sighed after a moment and relented.
I'm sorry. Yes, I am feeling a bit stressed today after all of that business last night. I'll be fine, though. I'm going fishing.
She reached past me to open Darcy's door.
Darce! Is my rod in there?
No. Wait. Hang on. Yes, it is.
Darcy emerged carrying a long, wobbly stick with a long bit of twine fastened to it and handed it to Eustace. Hey, fishing sprite!
Fishing sprite.
Fishing sprite!
Time for the fishing minigame? Time for the fishing minigame?
Thank you, Darcy.
No trouble. Have fun.
What are you two up to?
Darcy had nobody around to help with her plants today, so I am, Eustace looked oddly panicked.
Oh, right, I forgot about that.
That's all right.
That's the system failing you, huh?
I could stay and help if you liked.
No, that is fine. Thank you, though. 3 is a crowd.
It can be. Well, I'm off then.
Bye for now.
Eustace looked like she was considering saying something else, but eventually she swallowed whatever it was and skulked out of the dormitory.
It looked like maybe they had plans and Eustace forgot.
Perhaps.
The earthy scent of Darcy's cauldron caught me off guard as I stepped into her room and closed the door. I couldn't help but cough.
Oh, it's fine. She can be a bit scatterbrained.
Coming from Darcy, this seemed a rather sharp barb.
Yeah, especially for someone whose system is all in her head, right?
I've got a system.
I got a system. I'm not, but just to be clear, I'm not knocking on Eustace for having a system. I can also be like that at times. Like, a
You
place
do have
for
a
everything,
system.
everything in its place. And if it's not there, then I am like... on the one hand, that's one of the things that made me very good at managing products at one of my previous jobs. Like being a product manager and being in control of things like that helped with that. But it certainly does not help in other things.
What is this little project you're working on? And what can I do?
Well, I have some ingredients sitting around that I never had a chance to try. Due to, well, all of the goings-on recently. And I thought, why not try some today, as we have a bit of a day off?
Well, how delightful. What ingredients?
A little of this and a little of that.
And a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
I cannot say. Ha ha ha.
I did not like the sound of that. I like the sound of that.
That is my favorite. You can vouch for me that I've done this.
Yeah.
My favorite little writing trick is like narration says one thing, person speaking aloud says absolute opposite.
As much as I had already come to admire Darcy's prowess with plants, I wasn't sure I trusted her with unknown ingredients. Or more selfishly, I desperately wanted to avoid being partially responsible for anything we made should it have some ghastly side effect. I would be nervous about toying around with unknown ingredients without someone I trust as much as you around. I assume none of these plants are dangerous?
Not if you follow my lead and avoid getting them on your hands.
Oh. What? The little fire beneath the cauldron had brought the little pool of water at the bottom to a boil. Darcy produced a small pair of tongs from the writing desk behind her and clacked them together happily.
Now, if you wouldn't mind getting one of the bottles of henbane.
Henbane? Alright, hold on. We're going to be looking up a lot of flippin' ingredients.
I feel like that one's toxic.
Wikipedia says poisonous. Doesn't... historical use, here we go. Bane as a suffix for a plant just means thing that causes death, by the way. I never quite put that together.
Henbane kills hens.
Henbane was used in combination with other plants such as mandrake, deadly nightshade, and datura as an anesthetic, and for its psychoactive properties in magic brews. That's what the Wikipedia literally says, magic brews in quotation marks. No points for guessing what Darcy's using it for.
Which toxin is in it?
I did not look up before I closed it
Is
up.
it a deliriant? Oh, scopolamine. That's the same thing that is in... what else is that in? Is that the one that's in... that's the one in Nightshade.
Oh my god, there were chunks in that sip.
Of the banana water?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's the same stuff that's in Nightshade.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now we've learned.
Now that we've said that, Hedwig is asking which one that is, and we're going to realize that it all gets explained.
Which one is that?
The sort of green and black one.
I scurried over to the pile of bottles on the bed and began pawing through them. Unfortunately, most of them fit the description of green and black in one way or another. Leaves and roots tend to be those colors. While there were a handful of powders and other pigments, most were simply green leaves or furry green stems. One was full of what looked like little wooden balls that rattled when I moved it aside in search of the henbane.
Little wooden balls.
There was even a purple flower which I found rather pretty. I am afraid quite a few of these are green and black.
Oh, sorry. Green flower that gets darker in the middle.
Oh, found it, I think. I held up one of the little bottles for Darcy to inspect.
That's the one. Put some out on that little cloth and hold it out for me.
Is it dangerous?
Well, you wouldn't want to rub any in your eyes. But don't worry, we are going to put just a small amount in this concoction.
I nervously obliged, uncorking the bottle and gently shaking the little flowers out onto a cloth on the bed that Darcy had pointed to. She picked one of the little plants up with her tongs, and then with frankly shocking grace for someone with one free hand, she produced a small stone bowl and utensil out from the desks next to her.
We are going to try crushing it and then boiling it with other ingredients.
Does Darcy have, like, records somewhere of what she's tried with all these different plants and what the effects have been?
Almost assuredly.
I gotta imagine.
She's their little Hildegard.
Yep. Are they thorough enough that someone, say, might be able to use her notes in conjunction with her stash and find a poison?
Probably, although I imagine knowledge that some of these plants of the sorts in the garden are toxic isn't that hidden. Like,
actually, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Them being poisonous is not the part that would be difficult to learn. Okay.
And what will that do?
Dunno. My hope is that crushing it will bring the juices out, so it'll mix more evenly in the water.
Oh, I see. And what will that do?
Hehehe. We will see.
We spent at least half an hour going back and forth like this. Darcy would call for ingredients that were stashed around her room, and I would have to scramble to find them in time to include them in her clearly spontaneous recipe. I was beginning to suspect that Eustace and Darcy's friendship might be based around having indecipherable systems of organization.
I have a system.
I'm beginning to think that many people here have a system, Darcy. Eventually, Darcy seemed satisfied with what she had concocted.
Double, double, toil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Wait. Soup specifically named Merlin, right?
Yeah.
I know the Arthurian legends are like when were those I know like when they were meant to have taken place, but like when were they
I was also wondering that, so
that like
I feel like they must be relatively old. I think the versions we know are a like more recent telling, but I feel like the legends themselves were relatively old, but I don't know that for sure. I fucking loved those. Did you have like the
familiar literary persona of Arthur began in the 1130s.
Okay.
So, yeah, absolutely has been a thing at this point in time.
Did you have those books as a kid?
I didn't. Arthurian legend was like one of the things that I just kind of missed. It wasn't because like I don't think it's neat. It's just that was one of those things that never hooked me or I just never came close enough to it as a kid and kind of slid on by.
I was one of those kids that my dad would buy me the like Penguin Classics books for all of the like that was the present I'd always get for holidays and my birthday and stuff, and I was always stoked for it because it was rad shit. But the Arthurian legends were some of my favorite. I demanded getting all of the ones related to King Arthur.
Well, that's cool.
And I don't remember shit about any of them other than that I thought it was the coolest shit.
I will admit I've been getting more into it recently as it's been re-released on the modern consoles. Although I have to admit I wasn't expecting the part where his sword is invisible. That part really surprised me.
King Arthur's tits are bigger too.
Yeah, King Arthur's got much larger breasts than I was assuming. I mean, good for him. I wouldn't have known.
Uh,
All right.
Anyway.
where were we?
that looks good.
It looks thick.
Lots of components in this one.
What will
Slaps
it do?
roof of Cauldron. That's for me to find out.
I wonder that this is a couple of levels of extraction away here, extrapolation away. But we've seen Darcy's posture, right?
Mhm.
Notably, she carries herself differently than all the other nuns do. She also talked about her back pain and how hard some of is she in pain a lot?
I don't know. Maybe.
I have to wonder if some of her willingness to do a lot of these concoctions and it has to do with maybe a relief from some kind of chronic pain as well. Like, I'm sure I'm like not trying to say the rest of her motivations aren't valid. That's been kind of lurking in the back of my head as something that sort of makes sense but hasn't been explicitly brought up. You know what I mean? I don't know. Make of it what you will. She began ladling dollops of the slightly sickly-looking liquid into a round glass bottle, similar to the one she had given me before the feast in the Misericorde.
Dollops of the what?
Dollops of the liquid.
Oh.
Is that what you were looking for?
I understand now.
Okay. You don't expect me to drink that, do you?
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it until I tested it myself.
Yeah, okay. I do appreciate the principles here.
I have a stronger stomach than most.
Don't! But she had already tossed the bottle back and gulped down what was inside.
Yeah. Could have used some mint for flavor. Next time.
I tugged my cowl down around my ears in panic. What if the slimy drink killed her stone dead, and I was left responsible? What if it made her grow wings or another head? I felt like anything was possible at this point. What are you doing?
Testing.
What am I ought to do?
Calm down, please. If you stress me out before I have a vision, that's going to make it really unpleasant.
Oh, but...
Relax. Just relax. I promise I do this all the time. It might not even do anything.
I hoped against hope that would be the case.
Ooh-ah. Oh yes, this is definitely going to do something.
Is that a good thing?
Won't know till I'm out the other side. Just stick close and let me know if I say anything interesting.
All right, so we're her trip minder today.
Yeah.
We didn't... It wasn't explicitly said that we were going to be her trip minder, but it was among the possibilities that was going to happen. Understood. I get it. The other possibilities included immediately bringing her a bucket. But Darcy was already off. She wriggled past me and escaped through the doorway, chuckling like a morning bird. The precarious stand that held the cauldron nearly tipped over as she squeezed between me and it. I steadied it as best I could before chasing after her. Darcy! Darcy, wait! But she was already out of the dormitory. I jogged onto the landing, groaning. I really didn't want to do any physical activity today.
Hoo hoo hoo.
I dearly hoped that no one would be on the landing or in the cloister. Surely I thought taking care of Darcy was a simple enough job for anyone else. If I couldn't be trusted to do that, what could I be left alone with? I hissed at her in a loud whisper, walking briskly behind as she flitted in zigzag patterns around the landing. Darcy! Darcy!
Hee hee hee.
Hoo hoo hoo. Hee hee. Come back! I need to get you to your room.
Why do we always have to go to Mass on Sundays? I want to sleep in.
We go to Mass every day.
What if I went once a month?
Absolutely not. Oh, don't. She had flopped on top of the stone railing already and appeared to be trying to clamber over it.
I want to play in the garden.
Come down from there, please. You don't need any more broken legs. This was getting too intense for me. If two sisters wound up with broken legs after spending time alone with me, I worried I might end up in the hospitalum cell instead of poor James.
She stopped for a moment, straddling the railing and looking quite foolish.
Where are we?
The second floor landing.
I mean in time.
Oh, it's been about an hour and a half since luncheon, I'd say.
I'm hungry.
Dinner will be, well, not soon, but not far away. I winced, remembering any dinner would be Darcy's responsibility. Others would be furious with me if she ended up indisposed all day.
I want a treat. I need a treat.
Well, we can go to the kitchens and find something if you'd like. Yeah, I could recruit Moira to cut us up some wedges of bread if we ran into her. Imagine she would be far better at controlling Darcy in this state than I was, even if Eustace was the real expert.
I don't want to cook anything.
Well... I watched uneasily as her weight shifted slowly, ever so slightly over the edge of the railing away from me. In a flash, I remembered something Margaret had said. The cellar! What about the pantry and the cellar?
Salted meat. Yum.
With that, she let go of the railing and disappeared over the edge. Darcy! I lunged forward in a feeble attempt to catch her, but I heard the dull wallop of her hitting the ground before I even made it to the railing. In a panic, I looked over to assess the damage.
Yeah, me too, Darce. Me too.
Darcy was lying flat on her back, happy as ever. She stared up into the sky, giggling like a mad woman.
That was fun. Can I have some of your son's mandrakes?
I don't have Oh. I tried to focus. The charade I could at least follow along with, however humiliating it may be. Is it such a trivial matter to you, taking my husband? You would take my son's mandrakes as well?
Have I got a deal for you if that's what's bothering you?
What? What? Can I have some of your son? Am I missing a...
Nope, that's all we got.
That's all we got. Is there like... Because... Is Hedwig just ad-libbing here, or is it something specific she latched onto?
I don't know.
That
Seems like an ad-lib to
Now
me.
playing Operation Darcy is the name of this track.
Very well, I thought. I'd assume she might continue at pace if I played along with her Bible quoting
Oh,
game.
Bible quoting.
Even if she was in a queer state.
Hey, happy Pride.
Happy Pride!
So wait, Son's Mandrakes is a Bible reference. Why don't I know
that's
that one?
because like it didn't seem like Hedwig was just ad-libbing. It seemed like she had latched onto something.
Tell me which Bible book that one is.
King James Version. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, found the mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes.
I see.
And then continuing that same, and then Hedwig followed up with the outline after that. But she said to her, Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also? Sorry, I switched to the NKJV for this one. And Rachel said, Therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes.
What a deal!
What a fucking deal. Jesus Christ. Well, there you go.
You can fuck your husband tonight in exchange for giving me cool plans.
I was relieved she seemed to be no worse for wear after falling down at least. Stay where you are. I will, I'm coming down to get you.
What's wrong with tithing dill and mint?
I ignored this and scurried back toward the stairs down to the cloister, saying a short prayer in my head that I wouldn't run into any sisters along the way. Eustace was likely the only woman who could wrangle Darcy when she was in such a state, but I certainly didn't want to be seen mucking it up by anyone else, even if they would have done no better. I sprinted across the cloister path and into the grass, where Darcy still lay flat on the ground with her arms outstretched.
Ooh, that did hurt a bit.
Please, nothing broken. Please, nothing broken. Can you stand?
Firm in the faith, just like you always say, Mum.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but I am not your mother. Oh, how I wished for this addlement to end. This concoction certainly wasn't providing the kind of results her last one had. When I had stumbled into Darcy and Eustace in the garden, her proclamations had been esoteric but pointed and dramatic. Here in front of me now, she seemed full of spirits rather than spirit. An annoying drunkard, like Flora had been in the Misericorde. We should get you back to your room.
No, the night is young.
I glanced up at the sun in the sky. Well, what would you like to do instead?
I don't know.
Something quiet? Out of the way? I winced as soon as I said this. Even someone in complete stupor could see through me, surely.
Ah ha ha, I understand. Sure thing.
Wait, what is it you understand? What is it you understand, Darcy?
Everything. Whatever you say, boss.
Leave it to me to manage to offend someone in front of in a completely altered state of mind, I thought to myself. Darcy propped herself up slowly, grunting along the way.
My back hurts.
You've had quite a fall. Are you sure you're all right?
I'm fine. I landed on my big old bum. Plenty of cushion.
She shot away from me with surprising speed. Wait!
Follow me.
She was running with great haste toward the same hall the superior's office was in. I panicked and followed her. If the superior happened to step out and see this... Where are you going?
Somewhere quiet and out of the way.
It became clear she was making headway to the cellar stairs. I gave chase. The cellars were certainly out of the way, but there was a very good chance Marta or any number of the others would be down here, and they'd all see what a bad job I was doing at taking care of poor Darcy.
Or, this is not the first time they've encountered Darcy like this.
I froze. The superior's door opened a crack.
What's going on out there?
Darcy had made it to the threshold of the stairs, just out of what I assumed the superior's view was. I, however, was smack dab in the middle of the path, mid-sprint. Just visiting the cellars.
It's dangerous to run on the stone.
Yes, superior.
I would have thought Angela would have drilled that into you by now.
I am a slow learner, I'm afraid.
I'm going back to bed. Please try to keep things to a dull roar.
Of course, superior.
How many of you are there? There isn't another blasted party forming, is there?
Just me.
Thank God. I will see you at dinner, I'm sure.
Wow, that was so easy to lie about how many people there were just then.
She shut the door with some emphasis. It was just in time, too, as Darcy began hopping down the stairs one at a time, stomping with both feet. The noises echoed throughout the entire cellar in waves. Anyone else was down here, our arrival couldn't have been more explicitly announced. Darcy, please!
Follow me, follow me.
She waited for me at the bottom of the stairs, staring through me with her glazed eyes. When I caught up to her, she bounded away again toward the rows of barrels deeper in the cellar. I jogged to keep up as we passed the barrels we had smashed during Catherine with the sea's wake. I winced a little. The stone floor was deeply stained. What had we been thinking? Darcy disappeared into the maze of casks ahead of me. There was very little light here, save for cold sunbeams let in through grated holes around the edges of the cellar's ceiling. Darcy, where are you going?
I told you, silly. Somewhere quiet and out of the way.
Well, doesn't get much more out of the way than this.
Hehehe.
I tried to follow her voice, but the echo was impossible to pinpoint. I was reminded of Eustace's bookshelves. The cellar felt impossibly large as I turned corner after corner in search of the irascible Sister Darcy.
What does that word mean?
Erasable. That's a word a day word.
I thought that meant that someone who tended to anger and irritation.
Having or showing a tendency to be easily angered. I think in this case she might be meaning in the case that Darcy seems like Darcy seems in a mood that like she might sour if Hedwig is not cooperating.
Okay.
I think that's the way in which Hedwig means this.
Okay. It puzzles me because it's like that's a word I'd use to describe Angela, I thought.
Right. I think it's more that Hedwig is recognizing she's kind of on an emotional edge here with Darcy, less than she is explicitly being angered right now.
In truth, we must have been going in circles.
Hello, hello.
She gave me quite a shock as I rounded one last corner to find her waiting. Oh, hello. We stood in silence for a moment. There really must have been no one else here, I thought to myself. All I could hear was the low rumble of the wind outside and the slow creaking of wooden casks. Well, here we are. Wherever here was. I had no earthly idea why Darcy had decided to on a dank corner of the cellars after all that mad running about.
Here we are.
Her eyes were still not quite her own, but she looked more determined than I had ever seen her before. We stood in silence a little longer. I could hear what I assumed must be a rat or some other creature rustling in the walls around us as Darcy and I stood face to face. Was there something you wanted to show me here, perhaps?
You could say that.
I thought I saw one of the casks move out of the corner of my eye. What do you... She leaned forward suddenly, swiftly, and... I don't know, I sort of... Real Darcy hours. Turned my head to the side instinctively, but not quickly enough. She planted her lips onto mine and grabbed my hands in one swift motion, yanking me toward her with some firmness. Oh, Darcy, you gotta get consent. You can't do this when you're in an altered state with someone for the first time. Darcy, no! Darcy! I squirmed, but I could not move back. I felt clammy and embarrassed, but worst of all, one of the casks really was moving. I was feeling too many things at once. I wanted to shove Darcy away and run, but I couldn't leave her behind with whatever monster was about to emerge from the barrel that was opening in front of me. Unfortunately, perhaps, it was no monster that emerged from the wooden door that had swung open while Darcy had been attempting to kiss me. No. The situation was far, far worse than that.
Oh.
Found a secret path, did we?
Hello?
Is that a sode? Is that a sode? I feel like that's a sode. Oh, that's delightful. Darcy, you can't. Oh, no. Well, we learned so many fun things today.
We learned a lot about Darcy.
We learned a lot about Darcy. I don't know, I'm just going to sit with that for a bit. You thought this game wasn't going to get explicitly gay. You thought. And yet, the believers win in the end.
Which, when you think about it, is also what the Bible's about.
That is true. That is true. that is exactly what I meant. Regardless, we will see you all next time, everyone. You have a fair day now.
Peace.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.